All right, today the Federal Reserve expected to hike interest rates for the third quarter in a row, and it's a push. It's a push to control inflation, they say.
Yeah, and this comes as a new poll is showing now that nearly 2/3 of the voters say that their family's income is falling behind the cost of living.
But despite those crippling costs, Fortune magazine tells Americans be happy about inflation. Somebody who is not happy about inflation is former National Economic Council director and the host of Kudlow over on Fox Business, Larry Kudlow. Hey, Larry.
Hi. Hello.
Good
morning.
It's good to have you. So the Federal Reserve is going to jam the brakes on, they're going to try again. They're going to hit 3/4 or 1%. They're trying to slow things down. Unfortunately, when they do that, people wind up in a painful situation. Things cost more and people lose their jobs.
Yeah, look, you're right about the pain. It's too bad the Fed didn't start this about 15 or 18 months ago because they never took it seriously. And like the Biden administration, they called it transitory. So we're in a hole. We're in a tough pickle right now. We're in kind of a deeper and deeper ditch. They are going to tighten. They've got their manhood back. Jay Powell has grown new hair on his chest. His hero now is Paul Volcker, who, by the way, was a boss of mine many, many, many decades ago. And they'll go 75 today. That's the consensus. I believe they should go a full percentage point, and they should go a full percentage point in November and a full percentage point in December. In other words, rip the Band-Aid off, take this down. The faster they act, they will change expectations from high inflation to price stability. And actually, the economic damage, I think, will be much less and much shorter. Now, it would be helpful if we had tax cuts and deregulation and opening the oil spigots from fiscal policy. Right. That would ameliorate the drop in the economy, but I don't think that's likely until the cavalry comes in November. So the Fed will be tough today, very tough.
So let me ask you something. If Paul Volcker's his hero, didn't Paul Volcker cut spending at the same time?
He did. Look, Volcker worked with Reagan. We had spending cuts, domestic spending cuts. We had tax cuts. We had energy deregulation. And, of course, Volcker then pulled the money supply out and raised nominal and real interest rates a lot. So, yeah, it would be nice if we had, this is a strange story because the federal government, Congress and the White House are increasing spending. Recent bills are going to increase spending by, I don't know, $2 trillion, some such. So they're easing, they're putting money in, and the Fed's trying to take money out. And that's a very bizarre situation, which is probably going to make things even harder to accomplish.
All right, Larry, on Fox Nation, you have the unauthorized history of socialism. It's a live summit. It's going to stream at 11 a.m. today. I understand Brian's going to take part in this, too. Tell us more about it.
Well, one of the big questions is which side will Brian be on, socialism or freedom and democracy? We'll have to work. We'll have to work that out later to attract viewers. Look, this is going to be a discussion essentially of totalitarianism versus freedom and democracy, between a state-run economy and a free market economy, between human action versus state action. We will look at all the pros and cons. I can tell you right now, I'm no friend to socialism. I think you all know that. One of the themes in this today is going to be how do we stop the drift towards socialism that's going on in Washington, D.C. For example, the Green New Deal and all the climate change regulations, that's a form, a very powerful form of regulatory, state-run central planning being jammed down our throats. You probably saw the story yesterday when the Interior Department jammed it down the throats of the Native Americans and the Navajos who would like the leasing and drilling, and the Interior Department won't let them. The approach to COVID, central planning, jamming it down our throats. The misinformation and censorship, that's more central planning, jamming it down our throats. So we'll walk through that. We've got a lot of outstanding people. Newt Gingrich is going to be on. I mentioned Brian, Sandra Smith, Steve Moore, Mary O'Grady. Be a terrific crowd. And we're going to hear from one of my idols, Joseph Schumpeter, a famous economist, who talked about freedom versus socialism. Even though he died in 1950, he is going to commune with us later in the show and tell us whether we're in the right direction or not. Joseph Schumpeter.
But I remain the headliner. That's one thing is clear.
Kilmeade and Kudlow.
Right.
That was a joke. No one got my Schumpeter joke. Golly, I was working on that. Sorry.
No, we're going to get it later when we watch the show back.
We'll add the applause line.
Thank you very much. All right, 13 minutes out before the top of the hour. That is Kudlow.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.